Phillips. Returning to our story, you've seen what can happen in a puppy mill. Animals neglected, abused, unhealthy puppies passed on to pet stores. You might be wondering, who's supposed to be watching out for the welfare of these animals? Once again, Chris Hansen.
Images of dogs in cages and overbred may disturb you. But you should know it's all perfectly legal, provided minimum requirements are met for things like cage size, cleanliness, and veterinary care. It's the USDA that enforces the law. So we tried to show the conditions we'd found at licensed breeders to the USDA's man in charge, veterinarian Ron DeHaven. But he didn't want to see our video.
You've elected not to look at those tapes. Why?
I'm not sure that a videotape always accurately depicts the real situation.
But do USDA inspection reports depict the real situation? For instance, this USDA report claims there was nothing wrong with this commercial breeder in Missouri. But the Missouri Humane Society found plenty wrong just a month and a half later when they raided the place in 1998. Dogs starved to death, decomposed skeletons.
They found things like no food or drinkable water in any of the pens. Explain to me how one day there could be no problems with a breeding facility, and a little over a month later, there's this.
We don't know what might have happened in the interim. Second, when you have a third party looking at it, they might be looking at things differently. That's not to say, and I'm not suggesting that dead animals that aren't properly disposed of and those kinds of problems, I'm not trying to justify those.
DeHaven told us the federal government is doing a good job with what it has, 65 inspectors for the entire country, but conceded that only half of all breeders even meet the USDA's minimum standards.
I mean, I got to tell you, we looked at some of these facilities, and the conditions that the breeding dogs are kept in don't seem to be very humane in some cases.
And certainly we find those same circumstances, I'm sure, in the course of our routine inspections. If we're not satisfied with a correction, that's when we would initiate some form of legal action. And indeed, we've done that in many instances.
But what kind of legal action? We checked, and of more than 4,000 commercial dog breeders, few have been fined or have had licenses suspended. And the USDA has only revoked some 12 licenses in the last 3 years. What about Nielsen Farms? Despite years of safety, health, and sanitation violations documented in the USDA's own records, no legal action was ever taken. And the inspector who found no problems at this facility with dead and starving dogs, he left the USDA in 1998, only to be charged in 1999 with unlawfully running his own dog business without a USDA license. The ex-inspector says he didn't need a license. He was just transporting dogs. When we visited pet stores, we heard a lot about the importance of the USDA's work. It was a big selling point.
We only buy from USDA licensed breeders.
And the other big selling point was the AKC, the American Kennel Club, the biggest name in purebred dogs and puppies.
You know, AKC is still a worldwide respected organization.
Some pet stores use that name to sell seemingly higher quality pups.
They make inspections here. You know, they inspect our breeders. You know, the people who don't have AKC are not subject to that kind of scrutiny.
Hearing this, it's no wonder shoppers think AKC puppies seem more valuable than non-AKC puppies. And that may explain why we heard from numerous sources that unscrupulous breeders will sometimes phony up AKC papers to market their pups to pet stores at a higher price. Sharon Williams, who trucked puppies for the Missouri breeder Puppy Ridge, says she saw it firsthand. If a puppy she tried to deliver was rejected by a pet shop for a health problem or the way it looked, she says her boss had a simple solution.
He'd say, well, if there's another one in the van, just switch the collars.
Just switch the collars?
Meaning you take the collar that's got the AKC number and everything off of the one puppy and put it on the other puppy.
Just how easy is it to get AKC papers? Just how much scrutiny is there? We decided to see what would happen if we attempted to register a litter of non-existent puppies. We simply claimed we'd mated this deceased AKC Golden Retriever with this spayed one. We filled out this one-page application which says we certified all the information was true. put our check for $20 in the mail, and soon had an AKC registered litter of 8 non-existent pups. Each puppy was sent its own individual registration form. Now we had papers to register 8 ineligible puppies, or maybe even register something else. So we used 2 of these forms to register 2 real pets. $54 later, we got these gold-sealed AKC pedigrees, certifying that our pets are purebred golden retrievers. Only our animals look nothing like golden retriever puppies because our pets are 13-year-old cats. The AKC declined our request for a taped interview and claimed that what we'd done was illegal and nothing more than a stunt. As for the AKC's gold seal, no matter what pet stores may want you to think, the AKC told us it is simply a registration, a kind of birth certificate, and cannot guarantee the health or quality of a dog. The AKC told us it's the government's job, not theirs, to inspect breeders, and it's the breeder's responsibility to be truthful when registering dogs. Even so, it says it does scrutinize applications and has 19 inspectors who every year and a half inspect breeders that have more than 7 litters per year. It does spot checks using DNA testing and will fine and revoke AKC privileges of breeders it finds breaking its rules or with inhumane conditions. But we checked AKC's published reports, and its inspections have resulted in just 7 breeder suspensions for inhumane conditions in the last 5 years. But after we told the AKC we'd made up our Dateline litter, it quickly responded, fining us $1,000 and suspending our AKC privileges. The AKC registry is big business, taking in over $26 million a year in registration fees.